You look successful on the outside. Your calendar is full. Your titles are impressive. You're the one everyone depends on. But let's be honest, inside, you're running on fumes. You're constantly worried about missing a deadline, letting someone down, or making a mistake. You probably call this your drive, your edge, or maybe even your superpower. But I'm here to tell you, it's actually a trap with a fancy name. In this video, we're going to pull back the curtain on this hidden epidemic of overachievers, and I'll explain exactly why this superpower is actually hurting your brain and your business. And I'll give you the very first steps you can take to reclaim your peace without losing your edge. I've worked with hundreds of high performers just like you, and I see the secret cost they pay. Stay until the end and you'll learn how to switch from anxiety-driven performance to sustainable, resilient performance. Let's get into it. As a leader, executive, or high achiever, you feel like you have to put yourself through countless trials daily to keep your organization running. You don't believe you get the luxury to take a mental health day because people depend on you. The prevailing societal message is that this always on, hyper responsible mentality is what fuels success. But it's a myth because, funny enough, that mentality is hurting you far more than it's actually helping you. High functioning anxiety is a negative force because it keeps your body in a perpetual state of stress. You're trading short-term, unsustainable bursts of production for long-term mental health clarity and true leadership potential. Here's the science of why this is a negative effect. Your body doesn't know the difference between a looming deadline and a saber-toothed tiger. When you're constantly over-functioning, you're activating your sympathetic nervous system. That's that fight or flight stress arousal response. This chronic activation leads to two major costs. Number one, decision fatigue. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for complex decision making, even empathy, becomes hijacked by the anxious part of your brain. You start making reactive, quick decisions instead of strategic, clear-headed ones. And then number two, the burnout cycle. This is where true damage lies. The anxiety drives you to overfunction and people please until you hit a wall, which then triggers guilt and then finally leads to emotional detachment. Feeling emotionally numb, even around people that you care for. This is the definition of burnout, and it'll cost you your edge entirely. Your anxiety isn't giving you an advantage. It's actually putting a ticking clock on your well-being and your success. Now, you might be thinking, this is just how I am, but let me explain why I can say with full confidence that this pattern isn't serving you. I'm Dr. Minnie, a licensed clinical psychologist, neuroscience and trauma expert, and faculty at Stanford Psychiatry Yoga X. In my clinical psychology and trauma therapy practice, I've had the honor of consulting with over 100 high performers, leaders, and executives just like you. I've helped over 800 people through my individual practice and specialized group programs. My approach integrates psychology, yoga, and cutting-edge neuroscience, focusing on how to regulate the nervous system to foster true, resilient performance. I've seen this cycle break down the highest achievers, which is why I know for a fact that shifting your relationship with your anxiety is the most strategic business decision you can make right now. So how do we start making that shift? It begins by learning to step off the hamster wheel of high functioning anxiety. Before we dive into the steps you can start taking today, I want to offer you a quick resource. If the idea of moving from that burnout cycle to a true breakthrough resonates with you, I've personally outlined a comprehensive 12-week plan based on my clinical practice. It's called Unstuck: Burnout to Breakthrough. This is the framework I use to help high performers apply schema therapy, cognitive behavioral techniques, and nervous system interventions to finally stop overfunctioning. You can grab a helpful outline of this entire 12-week program along with other resources down in the description below. Feel free to download it, and let's get back to the steps you can take today. Now, the goal isn't to eliminate anxiety. That's actually impossible. The goal is to rewire your nervous system so that anxiety becomes a signal you manage, not a driver that controls you. Here are 3 practical steps you can start taking today. Stop calling it drive and start naming the underlying belief. High-functioning anxiety is often rooted in what we call a schema, which is a deep protective pattern. For high performers, this is often the perfectionism or unrelenting standards or self-sacrifice schema. You believe if I stop, I fail, or my value is only in my productivity. Your homework this week is to simply observe. What is the rule that is driving you? Write it down. Naming it separates you from the behavior. Since anxiety is a nervous system state, we have to regulate the body first. You don't have time for a 30-minute meditation, I understand. So instead, practice micro grounding. 3 times a day, take a deliberate 6-second exhale. Just a few seconds of a longer exhale actually shifts your nervous system out of fight or flight into a calmer, more regulated state. And that state allows you to think more clearly and even explore new possibilities. Do this before every important meeting. High-functioning anxiety makes you a severe people pleaser. You fear disappointing others. The solution is assertive communication. Instead of defaulting to yes out of fear, practice the 30-second rule. So when you're asked to commit to something new, you say, "That's a great request. Let me check my schedule or my capacity, and I'll get back to you in 30 seconds or 30 minutes, however much time you need." This brief pause allows you to check in with your own body and resources, not just react to the other person's needs. It's a boundary, and boundaries are a form of self-compassion. To recap, high-functioning anxiety is not your superpower. It's a nervous system pattern that leads to burnout. The path to resilient performance starts with naming the rule, regulating your body with micro-grounding, and setting boundaries with assertive communication. If you're tired of the crash and burn cycle and you're ready to implement a sustainable, evidence-based system to lead your life and your business from a place of clarity, not stress, then I invite you to check out my group program, Unstuck, Burnout to Breakthrough. This 12-week program is where we dive into the schemas, cognitive restructuring, and emotional regulation techniques that you need to make a permanent shift. All the information is linked in the description below. Thank you for watching. Remember, your true power is in your presence, not your pressure. I'll see you in the next video.